Murungi cannot be the one to second this motion.
Mr. Speaker, I appreciate the wisdom. Mr. Speaker,
Order, senators.
I appreciate the wisdom of my colleague, Senator Kajwang, and I love the fact that he's a stickler to the procedures, and that's all we're talking about here. So, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move and request Senator Sifuna to second.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion by the Minority Whip, Senator Ledama Olekina. And allow me to begin with the words that you used in your communication this afternoon, Mr. Speaker, that in fact, this is a fundamental process in good governance and upholding of democracy. And I remember you calling us to order, Mr. Speaker, and that we treat this particular process with the highest level of responsibility. I do not take my duties as a senator of Nairobi lightly, and especially not when it comes to the process of impeachment of a governor. Mr. Speaker, I consider myself more a debating machine than a voting machine. I don't want to allude anything on any other senator, but for me, the reason I'm in this house is first to debate before questions are put to the vote. And that those people or the colleagues who insist, Mr. Speaker, on straight up going to the vote are doing themselves a disservice, because there's a song that I like by one Emily Sunday. She says, if you can never sing your song, how are we supposed to learn it? I would want to hear my colleagues debating and convincing me why of the two options that are available to the House, Mr. Speaker, the plenary is the best. For me, I'm here to do one thing and one thing only. First of all, I want to thank this SBC, because this debate in the morning, we were asking ourselves whether we should recommend or whether we should make available both choices for the House. And in fact, in the wisdom of the chair, you ruled that this is a choice for this House, that both of those choices must be put before the members, let the debate ensue, and people convince each other as to why one is better than the other. Mr. Speaker, I also have the benefit of having been a member in the last impeachment process of Governor Kawira. That committee was very ably led by my colleague from Kakamega, Senator Khalwale. Mr. Speaker, I have come to be convinced that in fact the committee way is the best way when it comes to impeachment of governor, and I'll give the reasons as to my position. Firstly, Mr. Speaker, this is a serious matter, not just for the governor herself, but also for the people of Meru. As a firm believer in devolution myself, I want counties to work. We fight every day here to get extra resources for these counties, for them to be able to work. Nobody is happy when we have dysfunctional county governments. But, Mr. Speaker, also the threshold for removal of a governor has been set in the law. It is the responsibility of this House, Mr. Speaker, to find out whether on the facts and the evidence that threshold has been made. And in my submission, Mr. Speaker, it is close to impossible in an interrogation such as the one that happens in plenary to establish the facts and the law of the allegations and whether that threshold has been met. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I believe that that responsibility of oversight of counties, and especially of impeachment of governors, is placed on the entire House, all the 67 of us. I do not see why, for instance, anyone would want to strip themselves of a role in this process by refusing the committee way. Because, Mr. Speaker, one unique thing about the committee way is the only opportunity that our nominated colleagues get an opportunity to have a say in a matter as important as the impeachment of a governor. If you do not go the committee way, Mr. Speaker, as you know, when it comes to voting...
Order, Senator Gloria. Proceed, Senator Sifuna.
When it comes to voting, Mr. Speaker, only the heads of delegations at the plenary will get to vote. This is a matter that it should be common knowledge to anybody sitting in this House, unless you don't know where you are. Mr. Speaker, the point that I was making is this. If we want to interrogate the evidence, to sift the noise, because there's been a lot of noise in social media and on the mainstream media about what is happening in Meru, I would beg this House not to join the cacophony of noise just for the sake of joining. That we do a proper analysis of the evidence, we do a proper analysis of the facts, and reach a determination that will be in the best interest of the people of Meru. I have never experienced a plenary, but those of us, our colleagues who have been there, have advised that some of the privileges, like for instance, when we were sitting in the last committee, and Mr. Speaker, I honestly would wish that you bring Senator Cherargei to order, because he is in the habit of shouting at people when they are talking here. If he has a point of order, let him raise it in the manner
Senator Cherargei. I'm giving you the final warning for the day. If you have anything, you speak through the chair. Don't engage your colleagues directly. Senator Kathiri, what is your point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the move and the second of this motion has severally mentioned Meru County, that they know what is best for Meru County. If there is anyone who knows what is best for Meru County, is none other than Kathiri Murungi. I wish they had consulted me, because they are advocating Meru issues in a very different manner. So when you are either moving or seconding, give your reasons without mentioning the great Meru County, tafadhali. I beg.
Senator Kathiri, that point of order is overruled. The role of the Senate is to offer oversight to all counties, including Meru. The motion that they're moving is the subject matter of this motion is Meru. You cannot make any contribution without mentioning Meru. So, Senator Sifuna, kindly proceed to...
I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that protection. And by the time the matter is brought to us, it is an indication of a failure of leadership in the county of Meru. So we are here to deal with your problems you should have sorted out at home. Mr. Speaker, let me conclude by saying that is the work of the Senate. It's a constitutional mandate of the Senate.
Senator Sifuna, I will not allow you to start throwing jabs. Proceed to conclude.
I conclude, Mr. Speaker, although the jab has already landed, I can see it's working, to withdraw the jab. Mr. Speaker, I want to beg this House that in fact, let us go the route of a committee that will enable us to be able to interrogate the facts, to interview witnesses. Senator Khalwale will bear me witness that the last time we were in this committee, similar committee, Mr. Speaker, the witnesses would take oath there, and you would subject them to cross-examination. And the people who have experience with the plenary, Senator Ledama, unless he was misleading me, has told me of a different story when it comes to plenary. You will not be able to do the sort of cross-examination that you would get opportunity to do in committee. And Mr. Speaker, if indeed we are going to follow your words of exercising the highest level of responsibility in this particular matter, knowing what is at stake. And by the way, we never pretend to know what is best for the people of Meru. We said we must undertake our function, our constitutional function, in a manner that is in the best interest of the people of Meru. That is not to pretend that we know better or more than those who come from there. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, I want to second this motion and hope that our colleagues will adopt the same and proceed in that particular fashion. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, kindly take your seat.